The Mazzones have been supporting the Mazzone Seminar, as we call it, at the University of Chicago, as you heard, for more than 15 years. And tonight we are celebrating the publication of the 10th book in what we call the Susan and Donald Mazzone Seminar Series.
I wanted something concrete that would really entice his generosity, that is, provide help for the students. And I noticed that in general, the donations go for the libraries, go for a chair, go for professors, but very seldom for scholarship for students, but never in the way that we devised. The idea was this, to organize a group of doctors or people writing the dissertation to work on a common project and publish, because publications are the key entrance to the life of an academy. If you don't publish, you perish. And so the idea was to train them to this thing, not just to be able to pass well the exam, but also to have something concrete, some publication.
We will talk very briefly about Brunoro Zampeschi, L'Innamorato. Now, what is unique about this book? Well, this is the only, I would say, treatise that fell through the cracks, so to speak. It's a direct reaction, response to the very important, famous text, the Book of the Courtier, that at the beginning of the 16th century became a model in terms of the depiction of the courtier in the Italian Renaissance. Now, why is that important for us? Why should we care about what the Italians say about the courtier in 16th century Italy? Why? So just let me refer very briefly to this short series, very slim books published by Penguin that are called Great Ideas. And I read very briefly, what these books are about. Throughout history, some books have changed the world. A basic Platonic concept, the idea of memory, that the relationship between love and recognition of something that is already inside of us. The act of falling in love with someone is not a random event. It's not something unlike what we believe today due to some kind of physiological necessity, but it's in reality, for the Platonic philosophers and Marsilio Ficino in particular, an act of recognition. It's an act of memory. It's a way of remembering oneself through the other. So the moment that the subject, I fall in love with someone, that someone has, as the excerpt, the quotation that I just read, has a certain luminosity. It's sort of shining forth just for me. Because that someone says something to me in particular. It's an act of memory. It's a remembrance. I remember, in a sense, myself through the other. Okay. So the moment that I recall who I am is sort of a way of awakening. And it's a private, inner form of waking up to a better understanding, self-understanding. I become, or the other becomes for me, a kind of mirror. I see myself in the other. The other is a surface similar to a mirror in which I can see myself. I see myself reflected in the other. This basic idea has immense connotations and consequences in Italian philosophy, in the Renaissance philosophy. Girolamo Cardano, for example, a genius of the Renaissance, was extremely interested in Ficino's philosophy and in Plato through, and what Plato said and the Plotinus and the other Neoplatonics said through Ficino. So it's a way of understanding and recognizing oneself. It's not just desire. It's not lust. Love is more than that.
Brunoro Zampeschi publishes L'Innamorato in 1565, and as Professor Maggi was saying, at this point treaties like the Courtier were incredibly popular, and were actually the literary genre that was adopted by whoever wanted to demonstrate that they were intellectuals. And so there are actually an enormous varieties of treatises on the most incredible topics like horses, dancing, colors, and then the most important topics and subjects that were honor, love, manners, and women's worth. And among these, Zampeschi chose to write a treatise on how a perfect lover should be, and which is basically an etiquette manual for gentlemen or those who wanted to become a gentleman. And clearly the model for this book is the Courtier. And the structure of the L'Innamorato is basically the same. Zampeschi frames his dialogue, the treatise, in a very complex way, very similar to the Courtier. He imagines that in the summer there are two of his courtiers who don't know what to do, and so to have a good time they discuss about how the perfect lover would be. And one of his servants, one of Zampeschi's servants, is listening to that and to that conversation and reports it to Zampeschi, who decided to write it down because he found it interesting and to publish it. And so, like, through the discussion of the two courtiers in L'Innamorato, we found out how the perfect lover is. And he's 20, he's blonde, with curly hair, middle, like, kind of my side, and of course he has to be a nobleman. Then we learn how he has to dress, everything. The kind of clothes he has to wear, the colors, which season, with color, and which sort of clothes he actually has to choose. And then we find out how he has to behave. For example, how he has to dance, how he has to speak, how he has to eat, ride a horse, joust, interact with family, friends, the woman he loves, and much, much more. And